Just give me liberty, or give me death.
My name is William Thomas Jr. We have a couple members of our board here from the Improvement League as well. Janelle Johnson, Henry Davis, Henry Johnson, and our longtime member Henry Johnson as well, his son in the back. Again, C.L. Townsend is a member as well as Ione is a member of the Improvement League. All right, so again, like I said, we're a nonprofit organization. It's been operating in Plant City since 1982, founded by the late Jerry Bailey, who was an educator in Hillsborough County. We mainly focus on a number of entities such as education, economic development, and a couple of noble projects in the community are the African American Museum, the Bing Rooney House, as well as the CSI, Junior CSI Forensic Science Program. We've got middle school, high school kids enrolled in the Forensic Science Program. It's probably one of the counties.
We need to suck it up. I know in the federal government, Department of Transportation, not go to allow none of you to put a big distraction next to the highway. In my district is a church who tried to put a nice cross down the road, and the federal government telling no because that got to distract the drivers. If that sounds fair? No. But we need to change policy for this not happen. My recommendation for all of you, you got common sense. If you want to order you beliefs, your people, your community, your ancestor, you have the free to do it on your house, on your private property. But in public property, we need to put a line because that cannot happen again. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one more email question. I was asked to squeeze this in if we can, and maybe we can keep our answers brief. I know it's not an easy question. Farming is an industry requiring much use of water. Particularly in dry periods, such heavy use and drawdown of water has been linked to increased sinkhole activity in Central Florida. Would you support legislation authorizing local water boards to further regulate and/or restrict water consumption for agricultural use? We'll start with Mr. Zemaina again. I want to get your name right this time.
Yeah, you got it. You've only missed once. It's not too bad. So, I've got to go back once again to my core values that government is not the answer. Very rarely is increased regulation the answer. However, if we do get to a point that we have truly drawn down our reservoir and we are causing sinkholes, then we do need to look at alternatives to protect our resources. There is no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean we need to jump to conclusions and assume it is going to happen and preemptively regulate things and put burden on the agriculture industry again, like they are already so heavily burdened. There are, I think Mr. McClure's business has a lot to do with taking a look at regulations and those sorts of things. So when we look at increased regulations, again, it burdens businesses, period. It burdens the individuals. We can't preemptively strike when we truly don't know what's happening. Like I said, if we do see real issues, we need to make something happen. If the private world is not taking care of it on their own, which they typically do, but if they are not in a certain instance, then the government has a right to do something about it.
Thank you. Mr. McClure.
I think that question is you go back, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, we had a really cold winter and we drew down the aquifers for freeze protection on strawberries, and since then the water management districts have, from a water consumption and a water use standpoint, certainly tighten down on that. From the state level, no, I don't believe that a one size fits all. As a matter of fact, if you were to take a look at groundwater in South Florida versus groundwater in North Florida, you could be 100 feet different below land surface. So a one size doesn't fit all legislatively. The water management districts have absolutely tightened down in restricted use. So no, I don't think that we need to handle that from state level.
Thank you. Mr. Saadaldin.
I think we need to let the local water management organizations keep a close eye on this. They know their community, they know their area better than the state does, better than Tallahassee does. The farmers of Plant City, they know their farms better than anyone in Tallahassee. And I think when it comes to water usage, I think it's unfair to blame the agriculture industry. I mean, they're just trying to produce goods, and they're trying to make a living. And we know how important the agriculture industry is to the people of Plant City. They produce about $1 billion a year, I believe. But when it comes to the usage of water, if you look at the oil companies and the fracking companies, how much water they use more than the agriculture industry. They are polluting the environment, and they are taking up our water. In California, when they had that major drought, people were told, hey, you can't water your plants, and then they were saying, well, then why are the oil companies getting to use all this water? So I think we need to let the local water management organizations regulate this and handle this, and to work in coordination with the farmers. But I think we shouldn't blame the agriculture industry for this. I think we need to keep a closer eye on the oil companies and how they're damaging our environment.
Before I respond to that question, I can address another question. How many of you have a knowledge what's the name of the biggest lake in District 58? Tonotosasa. Great. Now, how many of you have a knowledge the name of the river on Temple Terrace? The Hillsborough River.
Yeah.
What I wanted to tell you is we need to protect our water resources in District 58. It's necessary to the people to understand that climate change is not a game. We need to start helping the environment, for we protect everything what is grown natural. Water is important. We believe that we need a better quality of life. But if we don't take care of water resources, there's nothing we can do. And I'm going to give you an example. Myself, I have a business who do with recycling. And I protect my business or not contaminate the floor. I make sure the water I use for my business is the minimum. For last, we have a big industry who try to use the reclaimed water to be reused. Now I have a direct question for Mr. McClure. The agriculture industry use reclaimed water for grow the good, yes or no?
Here in East Hillsborough County, I mean,
Yes.
most of it's on potable well.
Okay. I know reclaimed water go be very good for all the residents if we not do the right thing to control the contamination of the water.
Time.
Thank you. That brings us to the questions from the audience. Does any one of the candidates need to take a quick break?
I believe the gentleman here has his hand up.
He got the first one.
Please.
Oh, actually, I got in licks early because I spoke to the candidates ahead to give them the heads up. I tried to give all of y'all an advance notice. Now, y'all guys have all tried to address the minimum wage issue, and some of you have said that college is pressing you down further than a
I just don't see how we can let them
Just give me liberty,